What's good, everybody? If you here, I'm pretty sure we all here for the same reason. We all power fans, so we want to know what's about to go down and what's been going down. We want a little bit of tea, a little bit of juice, right? So let's just kick it off by saying this. Tommy starts off on the phone at the beginning of the episode. He's on the phone with his mom, and he's telling his mom, like, I don't feel safe anymore. I gotta get out of town. Now, if you want to get straight to the point, it's actually a few different reasons why he's leaving out of town. But the biggest reason in this situation is because Tasha pretty much ratted him out in court. She snitched on him. And as we all know by now, from childhood era mistakes, snitches get stitches. And if you don't know that by now, don't worry about it. I'm going to catch you up. So anyway, Tasha pretty much says in court out loud that Tommy Egan killed Ghost St. Patrick, which we all know is a lie. We all know who the real killer is, which is Tariq St. Patrick. But at the end of the day, killer or not, we still know who we dealing with. Tommy Egan. Savage cutthroat. Now, 3 things. Tommy is definitely about to come back for Tasha. 1, because she snitched. We all know the street code. Snitches get stitches, right? 2, she threw dirt on his name, which Tommy don't play by. 3, she lied in court. Not just lied in court, but the whole world knows this. Now it's a big target on Tommy's back. So the Fed has no choice but to find out who and where Tommy Egan is. Now, just to catch a few viewers up, because this next part is kind of tricky. Some people may have not watched Ghost because they're just Tommy fans and they just like the original show Power. But just to kind of throw out there, you all know Sax. Sax is still in the show. He's a prosecutor and he's pretty much working on this case with Tasha. Now, the thing is, Sax, he pretty much was in a hard spot. He got fired, laid off or whatever. And he kind of destroyed his family name a tad bit. He's making himself look bad. This opportunity to catch Tommy Egan once again and reclaim his spot is a big opportunity for him to put him back in that hot seat. Now, Sax pretty much already dealing with Tommy Egan and Ghost in the past. He already know how Tommy gets down. He know Tommy's about to come for revenge. So what happens next? Sax comes up with another one of his fancy plans that eventually fails like always. Sax plan to pretty much stick with Tasha, have a few feds around, and wait for Tommy to make his move on Tasha. It was a pretty good plan, but the only thing was Tariq. Tariq is always 2 steps ahead, just like how his father is. Now Tariq, he played his cards right. He been in the game for a little while, right? He know who Tommy is. His uncle Tommy at that, or at least once was. He goes to Tommy, he tells Tommy. He has a plan for both of them. No harm, no foul, no strings attached. They both can walk away from the situation free men without anyone getting hurt or anyone getting caught. So Tommy and Tariq pretty much fakes Tommy death. We all know Tommy was already going to be on the urge to come back and get Tasha. Tasha's already protected by the feds. And we know the feds were waiting for Tommy to make his next move. Now the thing is, because Tommy did make his moves like the Fed anticipated, they began chasing Tommy. This was a part of Tariq's and Tommy's plan. Tommy speeds off, he gets away a little bit, and he runs into something, crashing his car exploding, and he fakes his death. This is why he has to get out of town, and this is why he tells his mom he does not feel safe anymore. So, jumping back to the basics, the beginning of the episode. As he's on the phone with his mom, he pretty much tells his mom, like, he want to start fresh, build a whole new organization. Now, we all know Tommy been down in the dirt and in the mud with Ghosts, so we know this is nothing new for Tommy. He's been in the streets his whole life. It shouldn't be hard for Tommy to start fresh. Now, the thing is, Tommy already had a plan to go to California. He's supposed to be working up under a guy named Rodolfo. Maybe I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but if you watch the show, you know who I'm talking about. So, to get straight to the point, Tommy actually wants to make one important stop. He stops at an old lady house. He pulls up in front of the house and pulls out a very important picture. It's a picture when he was 4 years old. Now the thing is, Tommy still wants to know if this lady is alive. And so luckily, a guy is about to harass him about the parking spot. After Tommy pretty much get harassed by this guy, Tommy asks the guy, is this lady still alive? And fortunately, she is alive. She's actually inside the senior citizen homes. This right here is a start to a new plot point. Now the reason I feel like this is going to be very interesting is because if you think about it, Tommy's in a whole new state. He has a grandmother that's still alive. Now, the thing about it is, when he actually meet his grandmother for the first time, you see that she says his name, but she goes back Doug. So we know it's something there. We don't know if it's Alzheimer's, it could be anything. But the thing is, Tommy finds out that he has a brother. Now this right here is about to up the stakes. Tommy having a brother in the state of Chicago can definitely give him leverage in the long run. Not saying right this second, but definitely in the long run. As the episode goes on, you know Tommy already make a few threats and a few enemies. He's making a mark already within the first episode, so definitely something that we're going to be talking about in just a second. One last thing I definitely want to say before we jump topics. Tommy having a brother in the state of Chicago was definitely in his favor. Why? Because if Tommy ever was to get caught in a situation or his back was against the wall and had to pretty much get out of something, now he has a brother to kind of rely on. I don't want to say just rely on, but someone that he can definitely build a bond with. I could tell Tommy and his brother definitely want to know more about each other and their family history, so this is something that's definitely going to be very big inside the next few episodes. Next, we actually have D. First name Diamond, last name Sampson, but I'm pretty sure everybody in the streets call him D. Now the thing is with D, as you can see right now, he's pretty much in the middle of cutting another inmate here. The thing is, when you actually inside the cells, can't too many people cut hair inside of there because you had to use blades, different sharp objects, and for you to be doing something like that means you've been pretty much doing some good things inside of there. You've been doing good. You ain't doing nothing too crazy, stabbing nobody up, and then getting into too many fights. You're doing your thing, right? But all that doesn't matter because here's when things start getting interesting. As D and the guy that was getting his haircut leaves the cell, you see a group of guys sitting down, pretty much watching D as he leaves out of that cell. Now D is looking back, the guys are looking at him, but the guys say one thing that really catches my attention. We're going to let them get comfortable on the outside first, and then we're going to make that call. Let's just be honest. This is pretty much common sense. If someone says that, they definitely have some type of leverage. It could be something from CBI having a guy on the inside. Now that guy on the inside is stuck with these group of guys, and these group of guys can make him pay ransom. Or it could be something from the outside that D doesn't even know. And these guys maybe have leverage that they can make D feel cornered or trapped, and now D has to pretty much abide by what these guys on the inside are saying, and something can be bigger from that. Just know it's not about to be fun and games when D get out. It's about to go down. It's about to get nasty. It's about to get serious. With that being said, let's jump back to D in a second. I see my boy Tommy. He back having a love interest. Now I'm not gonna say that he's in love with her, but I could definitely see that she has a little thing for him. At first I thought it was just redheads, but I'm really starting to feel like Tommy has a little thing for bartenders too, if you know what I'm saying. And I can say one thing, they did hook up the first night, but after they did hook up, they had a small talk, and they actually had a few things in common, which is pretty dope. I like that they actually threw that inside the story. But I can say one thing, I feel like this is about to be a very big problem. Not trying to be the bad guy here, but things that comes fast usually don't last long. And the things that last long usually don't come fast. I'm pretty sure we all know this by now. But that's not the problem. The problem is the love triangle. The bartender is definitely digging Tommy, but we got somebody that's definitely digging the bartender, which is Vic. And if you actually see, she passed money to Vic, and you can tell they're actually doing business together. But back on a serious note, we have the Flynn family, which is Vic. Vic is the guy that's pretty much running the streets. We have the dad. He's a head honcho. He runs the whole organization. Then we have Claudia, the sister. Honestly, I feel Claudia is going to be definitely the master in disguise because her and the dad had a small talk at the very beginning. He pretty much asked her, "Are you trying to take my spot?" She says, "No, Da. No one can take your spot." But he also mentioned how she pretty much is better in chess than her brother, and that she thinks that she can pretty much be out here doing the same thing that Vic is doing, which is not her position. Her position is pretty much protecting her family and keeping them legal. As you can tell, Claudia has some sort of power, or at least she has some sort of wit. She definitely is smart. It was a couple times she pretty much said to her brother, "I don't want to have to worry about you anymore." And Vic says no on mom. So I'm guessing that their mom is dead or something happened to their mom that we will definitely get to later in the story. I can say one thing, Claudia is going to be a very interesting character. Why? Because every time we see her on camera, she's pretty much set up in the form of being powerful. For example, the first time you see her, she's sitting in her dad's chair. Her dad asks her, "Are you trying to take my spot?" She replies no, but at the end of the day, her and her dad had a certain conversation, and you can tell that she wants to do things in her own way, in a certain way, the way that Vic does things, because she feels like she maybe could do things a tad bit better. And if we want to talk from a film perspective, whenever you see those low shots and the high shots, Claudia was standing very high, the camera was very low, and she's just looking down, overseeing everything. When Tommy gets brought back towards the end of the episode, Tommy and the dad has this conversation. Claudia is just in the back at the top, just looking down, almost like a bird, like a hawk, just watching, observing. Because she knows for a fact, one day she's going to be in power. She's going to make that change. It's going to happen soon. And when that happens, let's talk about it. And since we're talking about the Flynn family, let's jump over to Vic. Our first encounter with Vic was when Vic pretty much put up on Tommy. Tommy and Vic's first encounterment. Now, if you know anything about power in real life, the person that's usually in control of a situation is the person that's the calmest. You could tell Vic was getting a little agitated when he jumped out the car and he told Simon to back up, I got this. Now, Simon didn't even listen to him, as I can tell. Vic isn't really the person that has that much control, and this is where I feel like Tommy will definitely be Vic's rival later on down the line. Tommy came out of nowhere. He's very calm, he's very collected, but at the same time, we all know he's a savage. He don't play the shit, he gets straight to business. In this current situation, the guy in the backseat has to jump out and talk to Tommy. Tommy tells him, now that's how you ask someone, because Vic tried to ask him 2 times, but he wasn't asking, he was demanding. But at the end of the day, Vic cannot make Tommy move. The guy in the backseat did. Right there shows me Vic does not know how to have power. He does not know how to take control. And at the same time, it's a lot for him to learn. Something else that actually caught my attention, Simon said something when they got into an altercation with Tommy. Simon said, well, he started it. The guy in the backseat jumps out and said, what are you, fucking 6 years old? That right there shows me that they do not have that much power, and the guy in the backseat has to pretty much take control of the situation and make things right. Tommy has something that the leader, the head honcho, Vic's dad, is going to need later on in the story. Reason I say this is because something else caught my eye. The guy in the back seat, a few moments after pretty much calling his own man a 6-year-old, tells Tommy, I respect that. You have restraint. He pretty much compliments Tommy on his characteristics and pretty much how he handled himself. And this is not even the end yet. So much more happened that we're about to pretty much get into now. At this point in the story, this is where Tommy turns up, and we know he's a force to be reckoned with. After Tommy sees Simon talking to Glow a certain way inside the bar, he goes to the back when Simon's taking a piss, and he does what he has to do. Tommy pretty much grabs up Simon. They get into a small tussle. Tommy gets the best of him, breaks his arm, but what does he do that's so important inside the scene? He takes Simon's phone, and guess who's texting Simon at the time? Vic. Now Tommy has the one up, does what he has to do, which is take Vic up under his control. Tommy is showing that he's an alpha. He pretty much is playing his cards right, and he makes Vic show his hand. Even though Tommy did what he's supposed to do, that's how you know Vic is a fuck up at this point. Vic pretty much tries to set a new play. I understand what he was trying to do, but he gets down to a point where he gets played. Him and another guy from CBI. If this guy doesn't look familiar to you yet, this is D little brother. This is the guy that picked D up from jail when he was pretty much just getting out a little earlier in this episode, and now things are about to pretty much hit the fan. In this current moment, in this particular situation, we know that CBI and the Flan family do not rock with each other. CBI says something about Vic as soon as he come down, and Vic says something about him as well. This right here pretty much is about to bring Tommy Egan back into play. Tommy pretty much take control again, showing that he is the most experienced, but at the same time that he's the person that's going to get things done. This is definitely going to piss off Vic's dad and show that Vic is not really ready as he thought he was. At the same time, he's going to need Tommy Egan when things hit the fan. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be rivals. If not rivals, at least strong allies. It may be against CBI or definitely could be against someone else. But at the same token, it could be vice versa. Tommy can take CBI, or at the same time, he can build his own organization. But Tommy definitely is a chess player, and this is about to hit the fan. Things are about to get turned up. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's do it. Last but not least, just want to jump back ships one more time and talk about the character D that just came home from prison. So the little bro pretty much explained to D what had happened with Tommy Egan, and D pretty much sees it in a different way. As you can tell, D is a very smart guy. As the guard did say earlier inside the episode that D is one of the smartest guys on the block as always. So I definitely want to see how D takes action with him pretty much being a leader of CBI in the past before he got locked up for 15 years. I definitely think this would be very interesting, seeing that D is a changed man now, but at the same time, his younger brother is in a situation, and D was the leader of CBI back in the day. So to see how D plays his chess move is definitely going to be very dope. I would love to see how the next play go down. Speaking of the next play though, little bro got D a barbershop, which is pretty dope and which is pretty cool. D pretty much owns his own barbershop now. Rent paid, everything is paid up in full. The little bro surprises D with one of the things that he always loves to do, and I think that's pretty dope. One thing that I can say though, Between D and his little bro, they had a small conversation. D pretty much told his little bro that he's a changed man now and he can't go killing anyone anymore. That's not his thing no more. That's not his kilo. He wants to do something different. Things has to change. But as we all know, we seen it in the little brother face when he said it. The little bro definitely, he's not really agreeing with what the big bro has to say right now. We seen it. He didn't say anything just yet, but we all know what it is. But shortly after the little bro leaves is what really got my attention. The guy that walks inside super mysteriously when D says we're not open yet. The guy still says something like, I like this shop. And he just sits down. What type of guy does that? Right there, that already catches the attention. And that's when things is about to get wild. We know the guy phone rings, and soon as he answered the phone, we see a badge on his hip. That right there already shows silent power. That cop, that officer, we don't know what he wants from D, but he could want something. We all know that cop wants something. We don't know if it's something from the inside. It could be those guys, which I highly doubt because those guys, I don't know if they're Mexican or what gang they're from, but I don't really see that being a plot line. But that officer definitely feels like he may have control over D because it's a new shop, and D has been locked up for 15 years. We don't know what this officer knows about D. We don't know who this officer is, so this definitely can get iffy, get wild, and some things are definitely about to turn tables, and I'm happy to see it. This conversation is a conversation I definitely don't want to miss before we go ahead and wrap things up. This conversation is between Claudia and Victor. This actually shows different motives and different characteristics between these two characters, and I actually love this scene a lot. Why? Because you're about to find out what the motives are with these two characters definitely. So Victor pretty much is being asked by Claudia. Claudia pretty much says, first off, besides you getting your ass saved by Tommy, she didn't say his name, but she was referring to Tommy anyway. She asked him, what the hell were you doing down there at the Yardies? That right there kind of shows a lot of potential. Like, okay, what the hell was you making that bad move? Because Claudia know the Yardies have some stepped on badass bathtub, as she referred, crack. But Victor feels as if the college kids don't know a difference between crack or coke. But as long as their dad is on the same bullshit with CBI, they will never have a coke line and they never can get that product. So Victor takes it upon himself to pretty much try to make a new lane and get a new revenue stream and get some more things popping. And I ain't mad at that. That's what a hustler do. That's what a leader would do. That's something that he's supposed to do. So I'm not mad at that. Claudia pretty much kind of cuts into him and say like, well, certain things are not the way you move forward. Definitely when it comes to having coke, and the feds are looking at us right now. So she's pretty much playing the smart role. She's playing chess. She's trying to pretty much stay low key and get the job done. And this moment, that's what Claudia pretty much shows that she do care about her brother. She tells him, I don't want to worry about you. And that's when Vic says, you don't have to. I put that on mom. I think that was a nice little bonding moment between them two. And it kind of shows that their mom is not around at this current moment. Like I did say earlier, that's something we jump into when that conversation come about. But with that being said, let's talk about the last final scene. So Tommy gets brought back to Walter Flynn. Been waiting to say the name all day. Walter Flynn, the dad, the head honcho, the leader, the guy that's running everything, right? The guy that was in the backseat earlier, I still don't know his name. If I'm missing something, please drop that comment below because I really miss his name. I don't know what his name is. But the guy that was in the backseat with Simon and Vic, he pretty much told Tommy, you need to go before you find out who the Flynn family is. But Tommy being Tommy, we know he wasn't about to run from nothing, and he stayed. Well, technically, he didn't stay, but at the same time, he stayed too long. He didn't get where he's supposed to be going in a certain amount of time. So they put down on Tommy and got my boy together and made him drive back to the head honcho. I really love this scene because Walter walked up on him, looked him dead in his eyes like a man, and told him his name. A lot of head honchos or bosses or whatever you want to call them always have this arrogance to them. Want to be weird and, you know what I'm saying, try to keep that upper approach. But Walter stayed humble. Walked down, looked Tommy in the eyes, told him his name, and pretty much said, you had a big impact on my family. Not just his family, on his city as well. He said it hasn't been this much heat since Miss Kyle or Larry kicked over that lantern. I don't know what the hell that mean, but it meant something. One thing I definitely can say though, my boy Tommy still had his ground. No matter if it's a boss, a head honcho, whoever it was, he still told him, let's cut straight to the point. F all the scriptures and the biblical talk that you pretty much talking about. If it's one thing, I ain't dead yet, so what am I here for? You pretty much thanking me for saving your son. Tommy threw the bag down right in front of him, and you could see Flynn. He looked right at him. It wasn't a sign of disrespect, but it definitely was one of them type of feelings to where it was like, he know Tommy was still about business, and at the same time, Tommy didn't give a fuck who he was. Now, even though Tommy stood his ground, Walter stood his as well. Walter still pretty much told him in the situation, I'm gonna give you a pass. But he did ask him a very important question that I liked. He asked Tommy, where you headed, son? And Tommy pretty much replied, west. Walter asked him when he was supposed to arrive, and Tommy really didn't have no time, no deadline. He really just know exact moment they supposed to be there. The next words that came out of Walter's mouth were very interesting to me. He said a man with no clock either has too much time or too much money, but either way, it will eventually run out. And Walter stood his ground at this moment and pretty much told Tommy, listen, these fires that you made in this city were pretty much from his whole organization. I'm gonna put the fires out. He's pretty much giving Tommy a pass right now. But he did tell Tommy it's time for him to bounce and get about his city. Now this is about to be dope because as we see, Tommy leaves, Vic pulls up. What did I say earlier? Vic was definitely gonna get that look from his dad. As Vic was walking up, his dad kicked the bag towards Vic, pretty much giving him that sign like, you just let somebody else come in, stomp over us, you're making us look bad. This is our organization, this is our team, this is our face. Now, this is the thing though. As Tommy pulled off, he got another call from Rafado. We know this. Rodolfo. Y'all know I mess the word up every time. He gets the call, and once he get that call, this right here tells you Tommy is not trying to be controlled, work up under nobody. He's about to start his own organization, and he's about to do his thing in Chicago. But with that being said, man, we already over the 20-minute mark. I want to talk y'all ear off. Thank y'all for tuning in. Daily like, subscribe. We'll be back for the next one. And make sure you check out the teaser and the trailer for the breakdown of the new episode. Love, let's get it. Let's keep it going.